The reason why most of us aren't very good at storytelling in our posts or in a reel like this is because we don't understand anything. We're just grabbing things and flipping switches up and down. Kind of like how a layperson would look at a complicated piece of electronics and like it's not working, just bang on it and flip things, and hopefully sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The thing that I'm trying to get you to do is to be much more intentional and be thinking about, why do I feel this way? And if I can decode that, perhaps another human being would feel the same way. So if I pull those same levers and push the buttons and the gears, perhaps they have the same emotional reaction that I do. And in fact, the most inclusive, expansive definition of art, there's two that I really, really love, and I think they're congruous, they're harmonious, is number one, is art is when I have a feeling and I make something, and when you see it and you experience and you have some similar feeling, that's art. And the other version of art is this, is that it's an invitation to look at the world from a different point of view. If you put those two together, then you understand what art is. And art doesn't have to be paint on canvas. It doesn't have to be charcoal on a piece of paper or even something carved out of stone. It can just have a feeling, and I want you to feel that feeling. So when you're writing that post, you have that feeling. And when somebody expresses back to you in a comment or reshares and is like, oh man, it feels like you just looked right into my soul. You can see right through me, and this video or that post was for me. Then you know you've done that job if that was the intention for them to write that thing. Unfortunately, most of us just don't even know what that is.
So I think with this, like you have a background with film and media, but then you also have done years of going to see a therapist. So I think you have a better understanding of like being able to tune into those feelings. Where maybe it's my own excuse and limiting belief, I feel like I have not had that experience. So when you say certain things to me, it's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I've never even thought about looking at things like that.
Right.
So for you, it's just second nature at this point.
Yeah, but I hate to break it to you. I've only seen my therapist less than 10 times. A lot of people think I've gone to therapy for years or I'm still going. I went there because every lesson or every session was a lesson that I learned as good and dutifully as a student as I could learn. I didn't need it 2 times. When my therapist said, hey, stop doing that, ask your wife this question or talk to your children this way and use this exact phraseology, I did exactly that. So I didn't have that problem again. And that's the thing that really confuses me about many, many people in our circle, people that I mentor or at least support on the side as a friend, possibly a co-worker or something like that, that they just don't seem to follow directions really well. And it could be from really innocuous things like fashion or something much more profound, like this is what you need to do in your business and your relationships. They just don't do it. And I just don't understand that part. Now, the key to all of this, whether you're a young person or somewhere up there in the years, is to be a great observer of life or an observer of things. Many years ago, I interviewed Seth Godin and I said, Seth, what do you do for a living? And he said, I notice things. I thought that was really beautiful. And it was true, and it was poignant, and it was simple. And I think that was an incredible way to say how he lives his life. He notices things. He notices why we behave certain ways or what works in your inbox. So you and I, if we open up an email, and it's both sales email, the exact same email, we both could take the same action, but I'm going to be sitting there thinking, why am I taking action? How is this presented to me? What was the headline that got me involved? Or what was the visual with the headline that got me hooked? Versus just, I'm going to take action. So I continue to try to impress upon you, be a great observer of the world. Notice things so that you can call upon them to use in your life, in your language, in your communication. You too then can be more of a profound thinker to be able to express your life and your experience as shared knowledge or even wisdom. Jim Rohn said this, wisdom is experience plus reflection. And those are 2 really important things. If you're really young, you have no experience, there's nothing you can do. You can reflect on your very young life, and that's cool. And if you're old and you've experienced lots of things, but you don't reflect on the things that you've done, the things you've experienced, then you have no wisdom at all. So I don't know too many people who, if I were to ask them, do you endeavor to be wise? And they were like, no, I don't want to be wise. We all want to be wise. But the 2 things that prevent us from being wise is, number 1, we limit our experiences. That's half the formula, is to experience things. So we limit ourselves as to where we'll live, the languages we'll speak, the foods that we'll try, the clothes that we'll put on, the kinds of people that we'll meet. We really put a big container on that and like, that's not for me. And we've seen within our circle of friends that people are very dismissive of new things. Oh, that book's stupid. This is not for me. I won't like that food. That's going to look dumb on me. And we say all those things to ourselves because we're clamping down on the possible experiences. So how can we be wise then? The second part is we can experience lots of things and be super open-minded, but if we don't reflect on those things and think, why is this important to me? Why did I like this? Why don't I like it? And to go through those things in a systematic way and process it with words and be very specific with the words that you use, then that reflection has greater meaning. You and I will watch a TV show together, we'll have totally different experiences because I'm not watching it the same way, because I've tuned my brain to watch with this kind of very particular lens so I can extract the maximum amount of words and experiences so I can call upon them again.
So spending time with you, I know we talked about this, is you told me to start looking at things in HD, that I don't do a good job of that. Can you explain that to the audience, how we can start looking at the world to start noticing more things?
Yeah, okay. When we experience things, the analog that I'll make with people is we aspire when we're recording content and media to record in the highest fidelity format, the highest bit depth rate, the largest, most uncompressed file possible, right? So we went from standard definition to HD. It's 4 times the resolution. Things look so crispy. And I remember living through that transition, the colors and the imagery look so lifelike. And now we're going from HD to 4K to 8K or something like that. And now it's starting to become really difficult for us to discern between reality and simulated reality. If you were to experience life recording things on a low fidelity instrument, like a Super 8 camera or a high 8 tape, you're recording things in very low color bit depth with very low resolution on a format that's not very durable. So if you think of your life like you were experiencing things, recording it through a pinhole camera with a limited set of colors and storage space, well, what do you expect to be able to extract from your experiences? So we want to live life recording in HD and high definition. We want to record it in the highest definition possible so that we can recall in these moments and extract pieces of information, or to be able to retell that story in vivid detail. And when I say vivid detail, I don't mean factually accurate, but on a sensory level, accurate, so that you can pull on those emotions and you can get people to laugh or to cry or to feel angry because you know what it was that got you to laugh, to cry, and to be angry. Like, I'll ask you this, and I'm not trying to set myself up for a compliment, but do you find that the things I say are clear, that are exact, and sometimes philosophical?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you want to speak like that with clarity and simplicity and to have deep observations and profound thoughts too, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, how can you do that?
Practice?
Yes. So there's something about practice makes perfect, but people say perfect practice makes perfect. So you could practice, but if the way that you practice isn't good, you're just repeating bad behavior, bad patterns, right? We don't want to do that. I think we all can speak like this, but we have to put in intentional perfect practice. And there's lots of things you can do, and we'll have to go into them one at a time. And it's going to take some time for you to get there, but you can get there. All of you can, because I never thought I'd be here.